Good morning all, and today we'll be doing right to freedom. Equality and freedom or liberty are the two rights that are most essential to a democracy. Liberty means freedom of thought and expression and actions, and freedoms are defined in such a manner that every person will enjoy his or her freedom without threatening the freedom of others and without endangering the law and order situation. Right to freedom is the fundamental right under Article 19 to 22. Right to freedom is also known as cluster of rights is because there are so many rights under right to freedom. There are so many provisions of right to freedom, and if we look at Article 19 only, the first one, right to freedom. Under right to freedom, there are 6 basic freedoms that the Indian citizens are entitled to. Protection of right to freedom of speech and expression. Every person has freedom of speech and expression. However, the state can put some restrictions on this freedom in the interest of the sovereignty and integrity of the country, for the security of the state, for friendly relations with foreign countries, to maintain public order. Now, you have freedom of speech and you have freedom of expression, but you cannot defame others. You cannot raise anti-national slogans. You cannot talk ill about some community people. Freedom of speech and expression occupies a very high position in the Constitution of India, because the minute we look at the preamble of our Constitution, it says that it guarantees to its citizens the liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. So the framers of the Constitution had given us the fundamental freedom of speech and expression in India, and we already know that a democracy can survive only if there is free and fair exchange of ideas. We are open to criticize the government's policies. We are open to say if we feel uncomfortable about certain government policies. Free speech does not mean that a person has a license to say anything that comes out of the mouth. So you have to practically think before you speak. The speech that you say should not be in such a way that it instigates one person against other person. It is so much religious that it provokes violence. It provokes riots, or you are trying to say something ill about a particular caste or a community or a religion, and or you are particularly using a very bad term to tarnish the reputation of some other person. So this freedom of speech and expression is a fundamental right given to us in our Constitution, but it has certain limits prescribed to it, and these are all the reasonable restrictions. Now, freedom to assemble peacefully. That every person has the freedom to assemble peacefully but without the arms. State can impose restrictions in the interest of public order and sovereignty and integrity of the country. Like there are restrictions now also because of the pandemic, that you cannot enter or exit a particular locality is because the state thinks that it is against your health, it is against the health of the whole society, for the whole country. So those restrictions of movement, right, of people coming together in the group will further bring more and more people close to virus, and the virus will spread. So sometimes the freedom is restricted, but the restrictions have to be just. Thirdly, the freedom to form associations or unions or cooperatives and societies. The state can enforce restrictions on this also, because you cannot have a terrorist organization, right? Because when you make such kind of organization, it is against the sovereignty and integrity of the country. Freedom to move freely. An Indian citizen has the freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India, but the government can impose restrictions if because based on the public interest only. Like you cannot go to certain places in Andaman and Nicobar is because those are inhabited by tribes who like to have their culture reserved. So it is in the interest of the public that there are certain restrictions on the movement. Freedom to reside and settle in any part of the country. The citizens of India have this freedom that they can reside anywhere in the country, but there are certain places where scheduled tribes are there. You cannot go and settle in those places. Initially, before this Article 370, normal people could not buy the house in Jammu and Kashmir. Is because if you are a person from Kashmir, you can only buy it there. But these all restrictions imposed by the state are for the benefit of the people only. Now, freedom to practice and profess or to carry any business, occupation and trade. This is also the fundamental right. But you cannot do a trade that is very dangerous. You cannot buy and sell arms and ammunitions. You cannot open a brothel house because it is too immoral. So also professional or technical qualifications must be acquired before practicing any profession or carrying any trade. You cannot open a nursing home if you are not qualified to become a doctor, or you cannot open a school if you don't have a principal or institution or teachers there. So there are restrictions, but these restrictions are all just. Now we have done in class 10 that right to information is also given to us. Now right to information is also coming under right to freedom, because this is the freedom of citizens of the country to ask the question to the government, because this right to information of 2005 has been put under right to freedom, and especially freedom of speech and expression. How the government is working, what is the role played by the government has given tender to which company, on which basis. So all these are the 6 together make the cluster of rights coming under right to freedom. Next right that is under right to freedom is protection in respect of conviction for offences. That is, no person shall be convicted of any offence except for violation of law. Now in the previous right to equality, where the Dalits had actually refused to wash the feet of the upper class, now such kind of things are not something that are written in the law and that a Dalit has to do. Those are social because of the caste inequalities that were prevailing. So no one can punish a Dalit for not doing such things. Only punished if a person has violated law. Next is right to life and personal liberty. Comes under Article 21 of the Constitution. Right to life, 1, and personal liberty, 2nd, and right to die with dignity. Now when we say right to life, the fundamental right provides is by this article is very important, because Constitution guarantees and that you have right to life. Now no citizens can be denied his or her life except by the procedure laid under the law. Similarly, no one can be denied his or her personal liberty, like arrested without being told the grounds of an arrest. If the person is arrested, then the person has to be represented by a lawyer of his choice, and that within 24 hours a person will be brought forward by the police in front of the magistrate. And you know that magistrate is not the part of the police, so magistrate will decide whether the arrest is justified or not. This basic right to life and liberty has been described by Supreme Court of India as the heart of the fundamental right, because no person should be deprived of life and liberty as per the procedure established by law. The scope of this right has also increased because it has now started including right to survive also. It also entails being able to live a complete life and a dignified life and a meaningful life. The scope of this right has actually increased, or we can say the scope of this right has expanded because of the various judgments of Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has ruled that the right also includes right to life with human dignity, free from exploitation. The court has also held that right to shelter and livelihood is also included in right to life, because no person can live without the means of living, that is, without the means of livelihood. So this right has also been expanded under this. The next fundamental right falling under the right to freedom is right to education. So a person who is actually put under preventive detention has no right to personal liberty. So to prevent this preventive detention is actually curbing the right to freedom of the citizens. So sometimes the government has actually misused it also, and India has been because in so many Naxal areas, government has used this preventive detention many times and very frequently. So they say that it is against there are human rights violation in these areas, and Indian government is so many times criticized for overusing preventive detention. Look at certain restrictions. We see that a person can be taken to custody only for 3 months at the first instance. Then after 3 months, the case must be referred to an advisory board consisting of people from that are judges from high courts. Then only after the advisory board approves, then only it gets extended for 3 more months. So we see that this preventive detention is a necessary evil in a country like India, where a lot of subversive activities are being carried out, and government can actually misuse it, but we also need it at times to protect our country's sovereignty, protect our country's integrity. It is very important for the security of our country. So many times police has detained people solely because they are Dalits or belong to a backward class, and then it is violation of right to freedom also. So these rights and right to freedom also are not absolute in themselves. They have certain restrictions, such as freedom of speech and expression is subjected to restrictions that of public order, peace, morality. Freedom to assemble too is to be exercised peacefully without the arms. The government may impose restrictions in certain areas, declaring the assembly of 5 or more persons as unlawful, because all these times the nation's security and country's integrity is very important. So however, if the people are aware and vigilant in regards to their right and choose to protest against such act of administration like misuse, then misuse becomes rare, because then the government knows that we cannot impose unjust restrictions because the citizens are going to protest against the overuse of power by the government. Now, let us see the inscript from Somnath Lahiri. I feel that many of these fundamental rights have been framed from the point of view of a police constable. You will find that very minimum rights have been conceded and are almost invariably followed by a provision. Almost every article is followed by a proviso which takes away the rights almost completely. So the question arises is, what should be our concept of fundamental rights? So should these restrictions be there? So I agree with Somnath Lahiri's view. What a political constable does is, he keeps an eye on any unlawful activities happening, and he helps in maintaining law and order in the society. Most of the fundamental risks have been framed in this framework. There will be violations and the remedial order by the courts. These rights do not include more substantive rights like right to adequate livelihood, equal pay for equal work for men and women, right against economic exploitation, right to work. Hence, a very few of the rights have been consideredly idly. Every one of those rights which our people want should be actually incorporated under the fundamental rights only, because the needs of the society are ever changing and they are evolving. So the fundamental rights should also be increased according to the demands of the people. And our constitution, our constitution keeps expanding the scope of rights with the various judgments of Supreme Court. So they are not static and they don't remain the same. They can be changed according to the needs of the society as well. Rights of the accused. When we talk about right of freedom, there are certain rights that are fixed for the accused also. Even if a person is accused of an offense, right, still that person has a right. Like, no person will be punished for the same offense more than once. No law shall declare any action as illegal from a back date, and no person shall be asked to give an evidence against himself or herself. So, to ensure fair trials in the court, the Constitution has provided these rights to the accused. So, no one is guilty unless the court has found that person guilty of an offense. So, it's just the society which keeps defaming. But the thing is, till a person is accused, is found guilty by the court, till that person of the offense, till that person, you cannot just say you are a criminal to that person.